luckily for us, everyone said no to us, so then the creative control was us. We were able to make it the way we wanted to make it. Great filmmaking, you gotta take chances. Hi, I'm Ron Diaz, director, writer, producer of Morningside.
Hi, my name's Joanne Jansen. I'm the actress, producer, and writer on Morningside.
And this is Mallari. Morningside's a feature film that we created based on a community center that's shutting down in Scarborough due to gentrification and how it affects the community and everyone based around it.
And we made up that community members by having an ensemble cast so we could portray different walks of life.
Funny enough, 10 years ago, we met at an actor party, and I was a YouTuber at the time, and she was an actress, and I wanted to get into the game. But no one wanted to work with a YouTuber except for her. And so she saw something in me, and I remember distinctly, like 10 years ago, she's like, we're going to make something great together. And yeah, I mean, this is a second feature film. The idea for Morningside is really, I want to show audiences where I grew up, Scarborough. It always got a bad rap, and I wanted to show the light of it. The good times, the bad times, everything that encompasses Scarborough. And I start to see movies that are being made of other areas and stuff like that. I'm like, man, Scarborough should have a voice because it fits that international model too. So that's how it was born as an idea before it became a movie script.
But It had its challenges along the way. And some of the biggest ones is funding. Money to make a film. It's not easy making films alone as it is. It's definitely not easy making it in Canada. Getting government funding is very difficult.
Like winning the lottery.
It is like winning the lottery, and private funding isn't as common here as it is in the States to, help out filmmakers.
Took us 6 years to get to this point, and in that time we made a movie just to prove that we can make movies in the States, actually, to make a movie about Scarborough, which is ironic because here, everyone said no to us.
So we had to sort of prove ourselves first and get the support of a company from the States who said, what else have you got? And you're like, we have this movie, Morningside.
It really started in the pandemic. Everything was shut down, and we created a movie. We write really fast, and we write together. And we wrote a script in about 2 days and said, let's go shoot it with everybody that we are in vicinity of. Because, you had to, I forgot the 2020 rules, but you can't have more than 5 people. Some crazy thing. So we made this movie on a budget of like nothing, and edited it and put it out in festivals. And it went to the American Black Film Festival, which is pretty big in the States. And that's when AMC got a hold of it and said, we want it. We met with them and said, hey, we got Morningside. And they're like, okay. Didn't even read the script. They just saw like a deck and said, okay, I'm gonna write you a deal tonight. We're like, okay. And that's exactly what happened. And that same year is when we made the movie. So we were rewriting almost every day. And the reason being is, like, as you work with cast and you see chemistry and you see wonderful things they do, it's like, no, we can make this better. So filmmaking is kind of like that. If you want things to come out the best you can. I know there was like a lot of improv.
It's also, along the way you lost locations. So you might have something planned a certain way, and then it's going to be somewhere else, and it's, people are going to enter or walk in from somewhere else, and you want it to sound a little different. So, naturally with our writing style, we leave a lot of room for improv because we trust the actors that we, hire to do the job. So, and we want them to play with it a little bit and make it a little bit their own. So with that, we're used to working with improv.
So originally in Warden Station, we just had a walk through Warden Station. And on the day, I wanted more dialogue, and we didn't give them anything. So at the station, you could see both of us kind of discussing what to say to each other. So I would call it scripted improv.
Yeah.
Yeah, scripted improv is what we did there.
Casting for Morningside, we have an all-Canadian cast. They are some of the most talented actors in Canada that don't get enough light shine upon them. and we thought that would be perfect for the roles that we created this movie.
A lot of the actors that we did cast, I will say we are friends outside the industry too. So it just helps with improv and nailing scenes right away, because most of these scenes that you watch in this movie is like 2 to 3 takes at most.
And a lot of these actors being our friends, they've also worked on previous movies or projects that we've done. So there's a shorthand between us that, it's very easy to vibe and work with them. But we're also welcoming to, the new actors, people that we haven't seen before. So we did scour the city through like IMDb and, looking at actors and what they've done and, to see if they'd be a good fit. Important for us also to have neorealism, hire actors that are from Scarborough too. It doesn't have to be 100%, but you make sure you have it sprinkled through there, because there's some great talent that's come out of there. So we made sure that we hired and represented for that too.
Are you seeing that? Nope, I don't see a thing. You did see it, we both saw it. So that doesn't mean I have to admit to it. But you just did. Whatever, I'm telling my mama about that. Are you serious? You can't be a rat. Yes, I can. My mama runs this center. You're a snake.
The one shot was designed because we wanted to introduce all the characters. The creative way to do it is a one shot. So it was always written as a one shot. And then it was working with the DP, and we worked 2 days with just crew and DP and iPhones, and basically learned the space first and figured out the best way to put characters in there as they come across each other, plus painting what the community center looks like. And just as, actors exit our screen, enter our screen background, just kind of introducing it slowly, like painting the Morningside sign in the background, just, so you know where the space is. And I thought the one shot would do a perfectly good job in knowing the world you're about to enter.
As an actress doing the one shot, I was in the last portion of the one shot. So if I screwed it up, I would have screwed it up for everybody. But no, luckily we didn't. It was very easy because there was only one portion that I had to worry about, is when I see Kiki and Agape coming through the door, me and Lovell start walking at a certain point, and we just start doing what we're doing. And you have to really ignore everything else, all the busyness, the cameras, the lights, everything else going on, because it's time to lock in and focus. So it actually wasn't too difficult.
It's a dance.
Yeah.
It's a dance and Lego pieces and just moving things around. This, believe it or not, was our 3rd take, and we were done.
We only did about 5 takes.
We did 5 takes, but just for safety, but the 3rd take is what we used. When making a movie like this, there's no way to guerrilla anything, which what we're used to is guerrilla filmmaking anyways, but this was...
You have to have permits for
You gotta have permits for everything. So we contacted the TTC and just explained that, this is a low budget movie and we would appreciate some help and assistance, and this is what we're trying to do. And then we found out Warden Station was shutting down and turning into condos, which is like the theme of our movie. So I'm like, we need Warden Station in there, but such a busy station. So they helped us with that. They hired more TTC staff and they kind of like coordinated it. And we had to figure out how to shoot without using real people in the background. So that was our job. And so we made it work.
Spectators, people looking around, and then they see Lovell and they're like, oh my God, that's Lovell from Power.
Yeah.
And they get excited. And I suppose just the whole having a production coming to a station, I think everyone was surprised and kind of excited.
And also we only had 2 hours to shoot the Warden Station scene. So because I used to go home all the time on Warden Station, I knew which platform had the longest wait time for a bus. So I knew how to make the 2 hours work perfectly. The shot where the bus pulls up on the platform, that was just 1 take. That was our first take and we kept it.
It was by chance that bus pulled up at that very moment and they just
got on the bus. I'm like, yep, that's it. Yeah. That's the take.
And it made it work because that wasn't scripted.
It wasn't scripted at all. That we just gave them points of what to say and when to say, and then they worked well together and we just remembered what they said. So the turnaround is all we shot.
And I do want to point out Warden Station was our first...
this is day 1.
That was day 1, the first
thing that we ever shot. Yeah.
So
everything just went smooth after. The RT was much easier because it don't exist. And they were selling it to Detroit, so I'm like, I asked them on the deal, I'm like, so where's these RTs located? They're like, oh, they're just sitting stationed. I'm like, oh yeah? Can we use them? And they're like, yeah, no one else is. And all right.
So filming in the RT was a lot easier because it's not moving around. You don't have background or extra people walking around that shouldn't be. The carts are stationed, so we had green screens for the windows, which would later insert the exteriors to make it look like the train is moving and in full operation.
We wrote the scene a few thousands of times. When you put things down on paper and then when you're on set, so many things change. It was supposed to be a lot of cast, a lot of background, but we couldn't afford it because our budget was limited. So we had to make it work. We couldn't find locations on where to shoot this initial scene. So that's also something that came into play. So we kind of put all these characters in this one space and said it should just happen right here.
Because originally we were trying to put it in the basketball court section, and that we couldn't use the location at the time. So we're like, what about the entrance area?
And we just made it indoors.
Space that we're using, and we decorated it, it was December, it was meant to be a Christmas party, so props decorated it as such, and that's how we made that work. For something as delicate as a tragic scene like this, it is a closed set. We didn't have very many visitors or too many people come through because it was, these kind of things are hard to deal with at the time on set, not just technically, but even just giving the actors space to be in the place that they need to be with this difficult kind of content.
That day was probably the hardest day that we had, just because of just like subject matter.
It doesn't matter if it's acting or, fictionally written or anything. It's a very emotional scene. So it is quite taxing.
Especially when you put all the actors in that one scene together, they all feel it. It's just growing up in Scarborough. I want to pay homage to the place that raised me. And of course, I've seen so many things growing up there, not just shootouts, but just like the comedic side of things, and being at the roti shop all the time and going to Warden Station and almost missing a bus, but I had to get that cocoa bread and patty. It didn't matter, So I wanted to somehow cinematically tell that story. So the writing process took long because, fail, success, fail, success, fail, success, until we nailed it. And I think we nailed it. I know we nailed it.
To add on to that, we get so many different depictions of different places in the world, like, Boys in the Hood, or you get representations of New York or other cities, but I don't really see, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I have seen things come out of Canada or Toronto, but I don't see it as common where it's a little bit more specific. And I think TV and film growing up for me at the other side of the world in Australia, that's what informed me of what was going on the other side of the world, or how people are living in a different way. And if there's any way I could contribute to that, sharing a story of what it may look like somewhere else at, in Canada now, the place I call home. So if I could share that with the rest of the world and show them what another part of the city or town looks like, that's what I wanted to be able to show and express.
The one thing about Canadian movies, you can tell it's Canadian. We know what we're talking about there. And not to throw shade at anybody or anything, but we know the challenges were creative control. And luckily for us, everyone said no to us, so then the creative control was us. So we were able to make it the way we wanted to make it, without someone saying, maybe you should just dial this down a bit, or, we didn't want to dial anything down, because that's how Canadian movies and TV sometimes are made. They just really play it safe, And I think great filmmaking, you gotta take chances.
That was good for us because we were able to make something without it being watered down.
Yeah.
We were able to tell it the way we wanted to tell it.
No one's sitting there saying, you can't use that much patois, no one's gonna understand it, who cares? I think over the 6 years, as long as it did take to make it, it allowed it to get to the place that it was at now, and I wouldn't change that.
Getting it out of the development stages and into production stages was the hard one. But once we had that deal and we were moving forward, everything moves pretty fast, and it has to, and you just have to hope that everything aligns perfectly, like your cast is available. That's a tricky one.
Yeah, there was a writer's strike, there was an actor's strike that kind of like made us pivot, and that's why we went all Canadian, because we couldn't hire Americans to sell the movie, which still worked out better for us because it kept it authentic. It has a lot of influences of different West Indian cultures growing up in Scarborough, so we had to put that in there. There's no way of making a movie about Scarborough and not being able to like talk like we're from there. Our dialogue, I think, gets a software update almost every year. People are saying different things, and you know, you have to be up to the time. And we have all these rich cultures and food and different ethnicities that kind of intermingle with each other, and now that's my word, you know? So, yeah. I grew up in music. I was a musician, a producer, and I had worked closely with a lot of artists in the city. When I worked at Flow, I used to put songs on the radio. And Shy Wisdom is one of my close friends, and I've always worked with her. I love the song Love Speak and Easier, and we made some really good music together. And we wanted original music that we can use and kind of make a different version of it for the movie. I knew she'd be on board. She was very involved in the movie as well. Just musically, vocal coaching, she was on set all the time. You know, we chose her to be the right artist because her songs are timeless.
Look, I can't lie. Even though everything's been so shit lately, you make everything so much better.
I had seen this shot in my head maybe 3 months before, and I wanted to do it. A lot of people on set like, if you don't get it right, you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot. I'm like, I'm timing the dialogue in my head, and by the time this camera spins around, it's going to work. And I believe that also was our second try on that shot. And I just thought it'd be so nice to captivate two people who are in love with each other, just talking about their life and what they want to do. And as they do it, it just spins around to the perfect moment where they have to get out of bed. And yeah, it worked out. It's one of my favorite shots.
And I feel like that comes at the perfect moment too, you know, messaging like their lives are about to be turned like upside down. Mm-hmm. It's metaphorically, not unintentionally, but now we understand it and see maybe that's what was pictured in our heads.
You should check out Morningside because it's a movie that will resonate, has a universal theme. You know, it does delve with violence and how it has a ripple effect and just what's going on that went on 20 years ago, this gentrification thing that's happening. You know, it's just a Scarborough movie that people will love and appreciate from being from the ends. I'm Ron Diaz, writer, director, producer of Morningside.
I'm Joanne Jansen, producer, writer, actress of the movie Morningside.
And that was The Line.